This writer is so good. Hello, besties, and Happy New Year to everyone. This is one of the most exciting videos of the year. I have to be honest, I love speaking about books that I love. And these are my top favorite books of 2024. In no particular order, this year I chose to do it with no top 10 or number one, number two, no order at all, because all of these books are worth your time. All of these books are so good. You will be obsessed with them depending on what you are looking for. And the first series that I'm going to mention is none other than Red Rising by Pierce Brown. If you have watched my channel for some time, you already know that when I read these books, I fell in love with them. I read these three books and the first saga, and I also read Iron Gold and Dark Age. Every single book in this series was a 5 stars. I couldn't give them less because even though they made me go through it, every single one of them, or maybe because of it, I think because of it, so smart, so intelligent, so very well crafted. The plot will take you to places that you've never imagined. And the cast of characters is so huge, but because we get introduced to them gradually, it does not feel overwhelming. They are so different and diversified, and you will find yourself rooting for more than the main character. The world is vast, filled with action, plotting, war games, strategy tactics. And before each battle, I felt like I was there with the characters in the war room, strategizing, and nothing goes to plan, never. And there are twists upon twists that are so brilliant in my opinion. But let me mention one thing. There is extreme violence and a lot of gore in these books. I know that at least book 1, 2, 3 are classified as YA, but in my opinion, they should be at least new adult because the themes and the imagery in these books are very mature and very dark. So please keep that in mind if you decide to pick them up. But if you are looking for something with a lot of grit and edge, something that will make your head spin, this series is for you. These are the kind of books that will make you read late in the night, screaming, kicking your feet, talking to yourselves. These are it. Red Rising, love them so much. The next series that I'm going to talk about is a romantic fantasy that is so close to my heart, that is so criminally underhyped. Let me bring them here. This Woven Kingdom. You already know, I love these books so much by Tahira Mafi. These books are so beautifully written. The level of angst, groveling, and pining in these books is never seen before. Never seen before, okay? No one, and I mean no one, has ever been so desperate for a woman as our Cyrus here. You have outdone yourself, sir. You have outdone yourself. Absolutely magnificent. And the way Tahira Mafi writes this romance is so beautifully maddening, so addictive. You're like, you want them to be happy. You want them to get there happily ever after. Seriously, I have no other way to describe it besides beautifully written books. Like, listen to this interaction from these infinite threads. I didn't trust you. How could I trust you? You were a vision conjured by the devil, designed to ruin me. I hated you for being real, for coming to life only to personify torture, to be another trial to endure. In fact, I wanted to hate you. I wanted to discover your faults, your flaws. I thought you'd never match up to the figment of my dreams, and I was wrong. You are far more enchanting in real life, far more exquisite. His voice shook just a little when he said softly, "It is excruciating to be in your presence." I knew somehow that it would come to this, he said, looking away. I just thought I was stronger. I thought it would take longer. Instead, you've managed to sever me in half with astonishing speed. And Eliza says, forcing herself to speak, her heart beating painfully in her chest, "You act as if I am intentionally cruel, as if I am indifferent to you. Cyrus says, aren't you? No, she whispered, her eyes filling with tears. Of course not. Cyrus stared at her from where he stood, his chest heaving with barely leashed intensity. He devastated her with that look, even as he seemed planted in the ground, immovable. Then be with me, he said softly. Let me worship you. I'm leaving you with that. This is the second book. When I tell you, these books are exquisite. The romance in here is like nothing I have ever read before. So special. The banter, the words she chose, absolutely beautiful. Add to that the humor and the banter and the smart dialogue that will make you scream, kick your feet, root for the characters. The banter overall, as I said, the dialogue is so well done. And it is one of the things that will get you hooked. And I want to mention something. Not a lot of things happen in book 3, but I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it, to be honest, because by now I can read 5 more books about Eliza and Cyrus, just going through their day-to-day life, and I would not be bored at all because of this writing style. I'm never going to shut up about these. You guys are missing out. They are so underhyped. You need to read them. You are missing out on one of the most heart-punching romances ever. 100% worth your time. Please read these. The next series that I'm going to talk about is, of course, Empire of the Vampire and Empire of the Damned. I read both of them this year, and oh my god, this is a dark post-apocalyptic world where we don't get a lot of sunlight anymore. They call it day's death. And of course, the majority of animals and plants went extinct, and the world got taken over by creatures of the night, and the vampires are ruling the world. And these are like the vicious kind of vampires. And we are following Gabriel's story through an interview. He's a silver saint, which means that he's half vampire, but he's a vampire hunter slash killer. They call him the Black Lion because of very legendary battles that he went through. He's a legend warrior, and we get to see his story, his history, the lore of the world, also the tragedies that he went through this interview with a historian vampire. The historian vampire's name is Jean-Francois, and even though we are supposed to hate them because he's on like the evil side of the story, I couldn't help but fall in love with his character because the banter between them was so interesting, and like his comebacks, like Gabriel's comebacks too, but Jean-Francois, like his comments, and he can be very irritating at times, and that made me laugh many times. The atmosphere in this book overall, as you can tell, is very dark, gothic, mature content. We have a lot of gore too in these books. But like we have very precious romances, friendships, and found family to die for. We also have epic and outstanding battle scenes that will keep you on your toes. And overall, I love the message of hope. The characters will still fight, even though it feels like all hope is lost and the battle is lost before it even begins. They would still fight, give everything they have in order to make a small tiny difference. I also love Dior and Gabriel's relationship, how it started and how it developed to this beautiful, unbreakable bond. These books are everything. You will laugh, you will cry, you will scream, you will get anxious, and you will love every single moment of it. 100% recommend. On to my two favorite fantasy romances of the year. If you follow me, no surprise here. Quicksilver and When the Moon Hatched. I will link both of these vlogs in the description down below to get more in-depth reviews and like in-the-moment thoughts about these books. Love them. to death. These have the perfect balance between fantasy and romance. Both have amazing world building. When the Moon Hatched is more intricate and Quicksilver is more dark. It is a dark fantasy romance. And like, if we don't do anything, the world will end. So yeah, I love them both equally. For When the Moon Hatched, we have a lot of lore and history and people who have different magical abilities, the different dragons, the creatures, the different regions with their own creatures. It was so fascinating to read about. It is a high fantasy. We have a creative, unique take on elemental magic, and the different species of dragon made it so fascinating. Rave is so badass. She's one of the strongest female characters that I have ever read about. And Khan, the MMC, is the kind of man that will fight for you until his last breath. And yeah, obviously, I love this book so much. For Quicksilver, I overall loved the vibe and the dark atmosphere of this world. And I also love that the side characters in this book are not like a backdrop or are not there to fill the void, if you know what I mean, to have like to have dialogue with. No, they play a big role in the plot and they have weight in the story, and we get to see their history. Not all of them, but some of them, probably 100% in the future books, we will get to know the rest of them and we will get to know more about them overall. But I loved how they have weight in the story, how we get to love them and to know them and to root for them. I fell in love with Lorith, Remphis, Daelina, and Everlane. And Carrion, oh my god. I don't think he's a side character, to be honest. He's a main character. I grew to love him so much. I hated him in the beginning, but then things change. And yeah, we need a Carrion book. Please, Callie, we need a Carrion book. And of course, Ceres and Kingfisher are perfect for each other. The romance was scorching hot. I loved every single bit of it. Kingfisher is the man. I love this guy. Have nothing to say. And the next series that I want you to read, drop everything and pick up the Mind F series. Oh my god, this is the most WTF moments ever. Ever. All genres included, thrillers and everything. This book is the definition of what the hell is going on. What is happening? The things that the protagonist, Lana, went through are unspeakable, unimaginable, and the way she is seeking revenge, I was feeling her pain every step of the way. And I loved the romance too. Logan, the FBI agent who is searching for her, fell in love with her without knowing who she really was. And it was just so exciting to witness. And the pacing was so on point. The action and the things that happen in this series will live with you for the rest of your life. I promise you. This series really held true to its name. The Mind F series, absolutely. Now, let's move on to the best Gothic YA fantasies that I read this year. I'm going to talk about the whole series of Belladonna and One Dark Window, which is called the Shepherd's King duology. If you want something that will get you through grief, if you want to look at death from a different scope, a different point of view, if you want a suspenseful, seductive romance, read the Belladonna series. The Belladonna series is for you. For One Dark Window, it has this dark, fairy tale-esque atmosphere that was so unmatched, in my opinion. We have an intriguing magic system that is based on a magical deck of cards. We have an enchanting forest where the mist will kill you, and Elspeth, who is living with a monster inside of her head. and we have found family, and we also have a beautiful, beautiful cast of characters that will steal your heart, and romances to root for. The plot, the mystery, everything was so, so well done. I love these books so, so much, and I see myself rereading them in the future, to be honest. So yeah, definitely recommend reading them. The next series that stole my heart, completely stole my heart, unexpectedly, is a series that I read this month in December. It is Mistborn. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I picked up the first book and I couldn't stop. I needed to read the whole trilogy. I read it on my Kindle, followed with the audiobook. Michael Kramer is the narrator of the audiobooks, and that man could narrate anything and make it even more exciting. I love his audiobooks. And Mistborn, first of all, I'm so happy that a lot of you really encouraged me to pick it up as soon as possible. And yes, oh my God, you know when you pick up a book and you straight up, right off the bat, you read a couple pages and you're like, yes, this writer can write. This writer knows what he's doing. This writer is so, so good. That's the feeling that I got when I first read the beginning of Mistborn, The Final Empire, the first book. Oh my God, the writing is so good. I cannot wait to read more from Brandon Sanderson. I cannot wait to continue on this journey and read the rest of the Cosmere, what he wrote in the rest of this universe. Kelsier has my heart, my whole heart, oh my God. And Vin and Ellen have my heart too. Spook, Says, Breeze, Tensoon have my heart. I really got attached to these characters and I loved every single one of them. And I loved following their journey to take down evil. And yeah, it was so emotional. I remember reading the last speech of Ellen and I was like, I had goosebumps all over. I was like, this is like the moment, you know, when you read a book and you're like, yes, this is it. This is why I love reading. This is exactly why I love reading these books. These books will get you that feeling. My only regret is that I didn't read these books sooner. I'm going to stop here because I'm going to talk about them more in depth in my December wrap up. But yeah, read the Mistborn trilogy, at least from Brandon Sanderson. Don't make my mistake. Oh my God, so, so good. So I have talked about my best fantasy romance, Quicksilver, When the Moon Hatched. I have talked about my best Gothic YA fantasy, Belladonna and the Shepherd's King duology. And now I'm going to talk about my best adult dark Gothic romantasy. And that goes to Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. This was so addictive and gritty and gripping. I couldn't put it down. From the moment we got introduced to the big manor called Phantasma, where the games are held, and from the first encounter between Ophelia and Blackwell, I was hooked. I was hooked. I was there. I wanted to know more. I couldn't put it down. We have deadly games based on the 9 circles of hell. We have demons that control the games. We have hunts in the mansion that the characters need to survive. The atmosphere was so epic and the romance so, so good. Highly recommend this one. Don't sleep on it. You need to read Phantasma. And speaking of good romance, may I introduce you to Carrie Lake books? Oh my God. I regret not picking these sooner, to be honest. I'm sad that I didn't know about these books sooner. Nochicadia, Master of Salt and Bones. This is not a duology or it's not a series. These are 2 standalones, but both are dark romances. Yes, you need to read them. You need to read them because these are one of the best dark romances that I've ever read, period. Nocticadia, we have dark academia, we have forbidden romance. It is a student-professor romance. It is angsty. We have a secret society with a very slow burn plot and a mystery to solve. If this sounds good to you, Lilia and Devrig are what you are looking for. This romance right here is what you are looking for. For this one, Master of Salt and Bones, we have Secret Society too, but we have a big, like, it's not even a mansion. It's, you can say, a castle, a big, big, big mansion that is built on bones, literally bones. It is creepy, it is gothic. We have a secret society in here too, and the things that happen there are so unspeakable and wrong on so many levels that will make you be like, what? What? Reread. Because yes, we have a dark and psychologically intense plotline in this book. It is Beauty and the Beast meets Phantom of the Opera meets Jane Eyre. Compelling characters, gripping story, and the romance is so crashing. Isadora and Lucian are two puzzle pieces that fit perfectly together. That's how I describe this romance. Yes, read these books. They deserve all your attention. Okay, the next series that I'm going to mention is one of the top urban fantasies that I read this year. It is the Gods and Monsters series by Amber V. Nicole, and the first book is called The Book of Azrael. If you loved Crescent City, you will fall in love. You will fall head over heels for this book. We have a vast cast of characters with multiple romances to follow, and you are rooting for all of them. And I love that so much. So we don't have like a main romance between the main characters, but we also have other romances that we follow between side characters. And I found that so interesting, and it added so much to the depth of the characters, and I loved it so much. It is also very, very action-packed, and we have the embodiment of female rage in these books. Diana is unforgiving, she's lethal, and ruthless. And Samkiel, he's just the perfect man for her. He's so devoted, and his belief in her is unwavering. And we have this group of Celestials, Samkiel friends. They are like the best fighters. I want to be a part of that group. Please pick me. Yes, this was such a fun, not only fun, but very gripping and addictive and like everything. Well-rounded story. Every single element is very well done, in my opinion. The second book, I know that it dragged a lot, I want to say, but still, this is one of the best urban fantasies that you will read. The next series that I'm going to mention is one of the best, funniest paranormal mystery romances ever. I know I haven't hauled this book for you yet, but the haul is coming. This is the Bookish Box edition, and it is the Riley Thorn series. The first book is called The Dead Guy Next Door by Lucy Score. You know me, I fell in love with these books this year. We are following Riley. Riley is a psychic. She's getting used to her powers. She's like, she does not love them, but then she needs to get to use them, get to know them better. And we follow Nick. He's a private investigator, and the elderly group that Riley live with, all quirky and unique characters that will make you laugh out loud so hard. I was smiling the whole time reading these books. The mystery is so interesting. The banter is on point, and it kept me turning the pages. And the romance was to die for, with a reverse grumpy sunshine. This series is just the embodiment of a fun, good time. I love it so much. Highly, highly recommend. I also want to mention Bride by Ali Hazelwood. This is one of the best paranormal romances I read, period. I fell in love with the characters. The FMC is so smart, so hilarious. The MMC is to die for. Everything, the setting, the characters, the romance, absolutely amazing. This is 100% worth your time if you are looking for a good paranormal romance with the most amazing banter, a lot of humor. We have some action too. This is for you. And the best contemporary romances that I read this year are Wild Love, Just for the Summer, and Funny Story by Emily Henry. Funny Story and Just for the Summer have more emotional depth and life struggles, I would say. And Wild Love had me laughing out loud so hard, and the romance was so hot. Highly recommend all three of them. Yes, these are among the best romances I read this year. And I also wanted to mention the best thrillers I read this year. I read quite a lot of thrillers. Listen for the Lie, The Only One Left, The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and The New Couple in 5B are all worth your time. They are all like amazing plot twists. Very addictive. They will keep you guessing. I couldn't put these books down. I wanted to know what's going to happen. These are very gripping, so entertaining, very much worth your time, in my opinion. And that was it for me today. Let me know which are your favorite reads of 2024 and leave me the star emoji. And also subscribe and join the amazing community of book besties here. Thank you so much for a year of like friendships and like discovering new challenges in life and get to know new people. I really appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for your support. And yeah, I will see you in my next one. Bye.